Nice.
That's a good
Yeah, all
one.
right. Let's. Yeah, that was a good 4. That was a sexy 4.
That's very solid 4.
Yeah. But yeah, no, before we just go into anything, I was showing you guys the stuff on YouTube, like, this was a couple months ago, and then, I think it was probably Christmas Pud or the board game one, which I have questions about that one in a second. But I was like, these guys are fucking hilarious. And then, weirdly enough, I think you guys, who runs the Twitter? I'm just curious.
That was me that day. I was sitting one day in summer Australia, which is winter America, and I was just doing one of those Pros D. How do I say the channel's name?
ProZD.
ProZD. ProZD.
Yeah. ProZD, right?
And I just did one of those days where I was on there for like your channel for like 15 hours, just sitting on the couch, just, 100 degrees in Australia, just watching videos.
Sure.
And 15 hours on your channel is a hard thing to do because so many of you actually, you run the spectrum of video length from 4 seconds to an hour like reviewing
40 minutes about like
Gatorade.
food.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Cheetos video I fucking loved so much.
And so I was like, I'm just gonna tweet my appreciation. And when you came back, because I think I said, I don't know, I said I love you or something like that, and you wrote back.
Yeah, you're watching like 4 hours of ProZD or whatever.
Yeah, and then you said you watched 4 hours of Pud. And I was like, oh my god, we know each other because we consider what you do. And I'm sure you do as well, is sketch. Exactly, like you're the best modern form of sketch comedy in that sketch TV shows don't seem to do that well anymore because not many people sit down to watch an hour of little videos.
Sure.
Because if you want to do that, you watch it to whatever length you want it to be on YouTube, which is exactly what
Right.
your channel is, and it's the perfect execution of it.
But we're also very jealous of what you're able to do because we can't get our shit down to 30 seconds.
No.
We're so verbose. Everything has to be fucking 4 minutes. And we genuinely watch your stuff and like how he can take an idea and make it so funny in such a short amount of time is truly its own art form and really fucking impressive. Did you start on Vine? Did that come from...
Like in terms of the video stuff? Yeah,
Yeah.
Vine I think was the first time I really kind of even thought about doing just short form stuff. Before that it was all like audio based mainly because, I'm a voiceover
You
guy
have the golden voice.
primarily.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Vine was just something I just kind of fucked around with like for fun, and then that sort of took off on its own. But it's funny you guys say that because I have a very deep respect for long form sketch. Like like I think what you guys do is great. Like did you guys watch much other like YouTube sketch back in the day?
Do you know, we started out, like we watched it once we kind of cracked through, but we started out very much, I think we were of that generation where the dream was TV. We started out in live, the dream was TV, and then we were really just uploading to the YouTube initially to promote our live shows. And then we made something for community television, and they were like, and the best part is we'll give it to you to upload to your own channel the next day. So we did. And then it was only when people started watching it, we blew up on Reddit. Like, we say blew up, like it was quite small views by anyone's standards now. But we blew up on Reddit and we were like, oh my God, there's like an audience online. And we'd watched videos online, but we'd never really thought about it as what we were doing or as an end game.
But also just before that,
Gotcha.
it was like 6 25-year-olds being like, wow, we blew up on Reddit. What's Reddit? Like, we just had no fucking idea. We were so...
What was the video that blew up?
It was one called Found Out I'm Gay. It's this old sketch that we do. It's like a monologue. It's this one take thing. And but we were just so internet illiterate. Like we really didn't understand community and like we'd never heard of Reddit until we were on it and
Okay.
it sort of boosted our profile. It was a
Gotcha.
very bizarre time for us because even like we didn't know that scripted content at that time big on YouTube, but also was just starting to die. So we came in just as scripted content was sort of dying, doing scripted content.
And then we took a couple of years to kind of work out what we were doing, professionalize our operation, realize that there was something in YouTube, and then we were like, we're ready. And then we went to VidCon, and they were like, what you want to do is 20-minute factual videos. Oh no!
It's just always been such a fucking step behind, man.
That's great. What year was this about? Like when you got that Reddit bump?
2012?
Yeah, 2012.
2012. Okay.
Yeah.
13, just thereabouts. But I remember being at college and watching Jake and Amir and really enjoying their stuff, like the start of College Humor. And they've reached out recently and said that, you know, that they liked it as well, which is very, very cool. And also we've become good mates with Tom Scar from the UK, who obviously makes the ASDF series. And, or is he called Astuf? Anyway, I can't pronounce any name of anything on YouTube. But yeah, so people like yourself as well, it's been an embracing community, to be honest.
I think it just goes to show, like, I you know, when I watch the sketches that you guys put out, I'm like, it was immediately like, oh fuck, this is good, you know, because there's not, you know, I'm not just trying to, you know, suck your dicks, but you know, but it really is like, I like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, these guys are great, because you know, sometimes you get a sketch and you're like, it's pretty good, right? But no, with yours, it was. I have one question about, you did a board game one on your channel. Who is one of you the board? Do you guys do board games, or what's the story behind that one?
I'm a very big gamer. I love my computer games, and
we all play
and
ourselves in
board
that video.
games. Pardon?
We all play ourselves.
We do all very much play ourselves in that video. Like, I love explaining rules. I love being the one to be like, this is how this works, and please fucking listen. I was trying to explain Secret Hitler the other day, and we were all a little bit high, and people were just not fucking respecting me. And really, I was like, this is at your own detriment, because we're going to start playing the game soon, and you're not going to know what's happening, and it's going to be your fault, and you're going to turn to me, and you're going to be like, what's happening, and I'm not going to tell you. So we're very much playing ourselves.
I am that guy. I am the rules explainer as well.
Yeah.
And that video is so good. It's so good. Like
that's kind
that was
of
the
you.
one.
Thanks,
you know,
man.
Yeah. I am curious. So, I guess for each of you, like, what is sort of like, I don't know, one or a couple of your main hobbies that are like really are, you know, dearest to your hearts?
Well, I was going to say that I was at a board game night once, which is where my kind of inspiration in that video comes from, being just not interested in shitting. Is there was a board game happening in the room, and behind the other side of the room where people were playing board games, my football team, my Australian rules football team was playing, and it was one of our players was lining up to kick a goal after the siren to win. And and people were asking me to roll the dice, and the guy is named Sam Wiedemann. He kicked the goal and missed, and then someone's like, "It's your turn." I turned. I was like, "I don't give a fuck about your fucking shitty game. Fuck off." So that's my inspiration for that. I would say so. Sports and stuff is my thing.
Gotcha.
I love movies. I really, really love movies, and the television. You know, television's like long movies with chapters now. But I really, really, really love movies, and I love all kinds of movies. You know.
Gotcha.
Big nerd for that.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a cinematic experience divvied up over 6 episodes.
You know, what I would say about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is, gee whiz, maybe Marvel should cut their budgets in half in their movies so they can have some complex scenes like that instead of wham, bam, explodey, man.
I'm hearing you there, brother. Music is something very big to me. I'm not really a musician. In lockdown, while we've been locked down in Australia, I've tried to teach myself the drums. I'm absolutely terrible, but I just love. I don't want to write music. I just want to be a part of it. I'm at the moment. I'm trying to go through and try and teach myself every song from The Strokes' "Room on Fire." just on my own. That's just my little passion project. That's my thing that I
Sure.
A
do.
little bit of
But,
Fab Moretti.
A little bit of Fab Moretti, local boy.
Maybe Drew
well, he's
Barrymore.
Italian. I'm Italian. You know.
Maybe Drew Barrymore.
Oh, who knows?
in
Maybe
the
she's on the
picture.
cards.
The drummer
so-
for the Strokes dated Drew Barrymore for a time in the early 2000s.
He
his
did,
name
and
was-
I saw them when they played at Big Day Out, which is a festival in Australia. I went and saw the Flaming Lips, and then at a point during the concert, a whole bunch of people from backstage came dressed in giant animal costumes, one of which was Fab Moretti and Drew Barrymore.
Do you know, apparently once she went
Which
to
is
one
pretty
of their
cool.
shows in New York, and she was, as famous then as she is now, and she wanted to be in the audience for the Strokes, but she was so famous, so she wore one of those costumes in the audience. People were like hanging out. And then,
asked
and
us
then they were
about-
like, that was Drew Barrymore from Donnie Darko and Charlie's Angels. And everyone was like, oh, wow.
You asked us about our hobbies, but you got a whole bunch of Strokes Drew Barrymore facts, isn't that? Just for a little bit extra.
That was
Sprinkle-
secretly what I was hoping for. I was like,
Mine-
oh,
mine
I don't
and
give
Mark's.
I don't give a shit about what their hobbies are. Please hit me with that Strokes trivia.
If you want to know mine and Mark's biggest hobbies, we share this, is just going way off topic. Just
We're
tangents.
really tangenting, and also going to Disneyland.
we love
we're
theme
big
Oh
Disneyland.
shit!
Huge.
Are you guys big Disneyland guys?
Yeah, and big. I mean, all three of us are very big Disneyland, but in very different ways.
I'm more of a Universal Studios fan than Disneyland. When we were
Really?
making the Netflix show, our house pretty much like backed onto the lot, like it was like a 5 minute, like it was just down the road. So I ended up going like 8 times. And it's not worth $100. It's not worth it. But I went 8 times because a lot of the rides are like VR. And there's like one good ride, but I just kept going. But
What is your favorite ride at Universal?
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
The new Jurassic World has just been done. I'm so keen to go over there and put a mask on and go on the brand new ride where they've just put in more dinosaurs.
the Velocicoaster.
No, not the Velocicoaster, the Jurassic World.
Oh,
So
right,
you were on
right, right.
Jurassic Park. You went on Jurassic. Was it still Jurassic
No,
Park?
I didn't go on Jurassic Park. I went on the new Jurassic World, but the
So you were
unfinished
on the
Jurassic
Jurassic-
World.
Oh,
They've,
they hadn't
they've just
finished it.
added dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But have you heard about Velocicoaster?
I do know about
It's
Velocicoaster
a
in Florida.
roller coaster like any other, but occasionally you go past a Velociraptor going.
Wait, what is Velocic?
It's a roller coaster. It's like every other roller coaster, but every now and then you go past a raptor going. Ah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say about Universal is that's the one ride I haven't gotten to ride is
wow.
the either Jurassic Park or World because I moved to LA like 3 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And at that point they were making World.
It's still shut down, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I guess there was like this pandemic or something that happened, so that
It was
kind of stopped shit.
Just
as well.
before COVID, we got sent home at COVID when it started, March of
okay.
whatever last year, and
Yeah.
it was shut down. The Jurassic World coaster was shut down for like 2 weeks prior, and I knew I was going to be heading home soon. I was so desperate to go on it, and it never got finished. So I never got to
Yeah,
go on
yeah.
the brand new ride.
And,
But,
and on the opposite, I got very lucky because we were in LA making the show right when in Disneyland when the Rise of the Resistance ride
Oh, shit.
just
Yeah,
opened, and I got there at
Ooh.
like 8 a.m. with my cousin. He came over and visited me because we ended up there's this band called Mr. Bungle that I love, and we followed Mr. Bungle. They hadn't done shows in like hadn't released an album in 21 years, and then all of a sudden they were doing shows, and so we followed them around America. And when we were in LA, we got up really early, went to Disneyland, got the you have to pre-book for it at the Fast Pass station or on your phone, and it
Yeah.
sells out in it books out in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nuts. And we managed to get on it, and it is one of the most creative, incredible fucking experiences I have ever been on.
They say it's our generation's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
The interplay between small, intimate scenes and then opening up into the epic. I'm so sad I missed it. I was very much like, we're going to be back in LA to promote our Netflix show in a couple of months.
Yeah.
No stress. I missed it, but that's okay. I just spent... I had so to give you a bit of context, me and my partner, I didn't go for a long stretch, and then me and my partner spent 3 nights at the Disneyland Hotel and did 3 days because... In my opinion, you hear about these people with the pass holder tickets to Disneyland and
Yeah.
they go every weekend like it's the mall or the mall. and that's not really my style. I'm about kind of like, you just like a sugar hit. You binge it so hard that you're like, okay, I can take a few months off now.
When you were having breakfast, did you get assaulted by Pluto?
No, we didn't do a character breakfast because we wanted to get to that park as early as possible. So we avoided the character breakfast.
That's smart.
But it
I
was
did
it
in
was a
Hong
real
Kong,
treat.
that's all.
That's because I wanted to do a character breakfast because of your experience. But it's
What was your experience?
Just Pluto just wouldn't stop tickling me.
That was me. I was at the Florida park. Have you been to the Florida Disney World?
No, not yet. That's the fucking dream.
Yeah, Disney World is great. We went there, and it was Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Tigger was very handsy with me. Yeah, there's a lot of photos.
I'm trying to
Tigger,
eat my
but-
Darth Vader waffles, and I got Pluto with his big stubby fingers all over my chest.
Because I'm a big we all are, but because I'm a big theme park nerd, I watch a lot of the YouTube. That's my YouTube watching is largely like those theme park channels.
Like Defunctland or
I
Loves
love
Defunctland.
Defunctland,
Yeah,
and I love
Defunctland's great, yeah.
and like I love when Jenny Nicholson does a theme park
rant, yeah.
thing. But I go deeper. Like I love DSNY newscasts, and I love review time. Like I love the ones that get really like, in 2 weeks' time they're gonna add this animatronic. I'm
Yeah.
a big nerd for it.
Have you seen the Spider-Man stuff?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And the way I understand, I think largely the way the United States works and the difference between the states is the reopening of Disney World in Florida versus the reopening of Disneyland in California. Just like, I think it was a week, and they're like, come back in Florida. Get on back here. Just wear a mask. And if you don't want to wear a
very
mask...
Florida. Yes, yeah, very definitive Florida. I'm also a very big fan of the park. I have the goal of. I'm very jealous that you got to ride Resistance because
yeah.
that was right when. Yeah, I guess right when COVID happened.
Yeah.
We were trying to get in on it, and it just didn't work out because I have a bucket list of doing every single ride and attraction in the parks, both parks.
Nice.
Amazing.
And that was only one of two left I needed to do.
Fuck.
Can I ask
It
what
was-
the other one is?
The Tom Sawyer canoes, my friend. because
last
nobody ever wants to do that. Because they're like, you gotta fucking row and sweat and shit. Like nobody wants to do that. And I'm like,
amazing.
So, but yeah, I had that and Resistance, and now they're making Marvel shit. And it's like, oh god,
I know.
Yeah, I'm excited, but it's like it's gonna be impossible.
We
to
more stuff.
not to make people jealous, but because we were doing Hollywood stuff,
Oh yeah, this is good.
we got to our lawyer actually got organized for us to have a plaid tour, which is where you get a personal escort who takes you around
Ooh.
all of Disneyland and California Adventure.
Yeah.
And put you at the front of all the lines. We didn't wait for anything once.
It was sick.
Oh
Which
shit.
is personal escort through the whole place. So we did all of Disneyland in like 4 or 5 hours, just like bang, bang. We did just about every... we obviously didn't do
The
every...
big ones. He
all the
took
big
us
ones.
through the big ones because there were people that were like, less. I remember being like, I was talking to him a lot and asking him about the history, and I was like, just to be clear, there's about 8 people in this group. Don't base the experience on me. Don't base it on me because I don't think everyone here is going to want to go and see Moments in History with Abraham Lincoln. Like,
Right,
I
yeah.
love that attraction. Mark will
Sure.
love that attraction. I reckon Broden would get behind it. But some of our guests probably just want to do Guardians.
Right.
But we started...
And then on top of that, we got to go into Club 33.
Oh shit.
And we had and it was
that's-
fucking unbelievable, man. It was so cool.
Do you each have a favorite ride?
It's a hard pick.
It's a hard one.
I like Incredicoaster. That's fun.
Incredicoaster.
That's a great one. It's
Yeah.
a great ride. Yeah.
The one I force everyone to go on is Guardians because even
fantastic.
if people are really scared of rides, and a lot of people we went with were like some people wouldn't do Incredicoaster because they were like too scary, and I was like, you should do Guardians, you'll like it, and then they were really mad at me afterwards. But it's just so. It's so fucking terrifying, but I love how safe I feel. Like it's
Yeah.
I sometimes I struggle with. I went to Six Flags and had a panic attack because it was just these giant hulking masses of steel and there was no atmosphere. And what I love about Disneyland and Guardians in particular, is you spend so much time just in the world, right? I was
Yes,
there
yes.
at Guardians, right? I was like, I'm a big fan of this, right? I've done it like, 10 times, well over 10 times. And then I'm in the bit where the animatronic Rocket comes up and starts talking, and he's talking. Then I look next to me, and there's this 16-year-old girl mouthing every word that Rocket is saying.
shit.
Like, okay, I thought I was a fan. Maybe I'm not as big a fan as I thought. But
You're like D tier. That is A tier.
Yeah,
S tier
totally.
ranking. Yeah.
But at Guardians but then Matterhorn as well. I fucking love Matterhorn. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The Halloween version of the Guardians ride is cool. if
I'm
you know
so
about
keen
that.
to do that.
Oh.
Apparently, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
It's really impressive because it's only at like a certain part, like after a certain time at night, and they just change the entire thing. The movie's like different, like they decorate it different. I like dragged a friend to go do it just because I was like, I want to ride it like that version of the ride, and it was absolutely worth it.
What song is it?
Oh, fuck! I don't remember the song offhand, unfortunately.
I think they do a
but
few, don't
They-
they?
well, I know them.
rotate
I
through.
think it's also random. I think
There's
depending
4 different
on-
songs for the normal ride. I
Yeah.
know that. And
Yeah, and
When-
some songs are more intense than others. Yeah, in
they're
terms
all
of
composed. The falling is all composed to 4 different
That's
songs.
so
But I was
cool.
curious if the Halloween one had
So
4
good.
different songs.
When I was there for my little 3-day trip, we on the second day on our California Adventure Day, our fast pass broke. Something happened and it wasn't working, so we couldn't get in. Well, I was furious. Imagine that. Imagine if I was one of those assholes. I was like, ah! No. We were like, oh, it's broken. That's a problem. And then we went
Yeah.
up to the cast member and we were like, excuse me, our thing's broken. And he's like, oh, okay. And then we had a big chat and I was like, oh, this is fun. And he was like nice enough. He just was like, oh, look, I'll put it in a setting where it just works as a fast pass for any ride for the next bit. And we're like, oh, thank you. And then I think he put it in wrong. So for the rest of the day, we had unlimited fast passes. And we went on
Holy
Guardians of the
shit.
Galaxy 3 times and it was a great time. But in answer to that question, I would say Matterhorn or Soarin'. I love
Yeah,
Soarin'.
Soarin's great.
Love
yeah.
Soarin'.
Are there any rides that you haven't gotten to go on or didn't get to go on that you're like, ooh, next time, or maybe at other parks or?
Well, I'll say that
yeah.
I'll say that I've always been very in the same way that the canoes for you, the Tom Sawyer Island. I've never been on Tom Sawyer Island, and I'd love to get there and when the canteen's open, grab myself a hot chockey and check out Tom Sawyer Island.
I really want
it's
to.
very charming, I'll say. It's fun. Like there's also like a great photo spot with like piles of treasure. Like my friends and I just took a group photo with the there's a lot of fun stuff on that island. It's definitely worth checking out.
I'm really, really desperate to do the Tron Space Mountain because it just looks.
The Shanghai one?
Yeah, I believe. I
They're
think
going
it's
to open
in.
one in Florida as well.
That's it. I really want to do that, and I desperately want to see Animal Kingdom because that tree.
Ooh.
That I just want to see the tree because the
Animal
concept
Kingdom
of
is
it
great.
is so cool. Yeah, it's all about Disney World for me. That's the big next. Once we're allowed to go wherever we want again, that's on the list.
I got one more. Not a ride per se, but I would love to get to Epcot. My race against time is
Before they turn.
I want to
yeah.
get to Epcot before they get rid of all the weird 80s shit. Like before they like make everything like fun and entertaining and I would love to
Right.
I want to get on at least a couple of the 20-minute like this is
You
the
wanna get into
history of
Spaceship Earth,
calligraphy.
Fidget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was going to say that when they've just reopened Universal, that you can see Nintendo World being finished off.
Yeah, man.
And can you do me a favor and actually go to that and like report back to us?
I will let you know. I'm very curious. Like I would love to go to either one. I mean, if it gets built here first, but I would love to go to the one in Japan too.
yeah.
I've been to Tokyo Disney Sea, and that was amazing. I haven't been to Disneyland proper there, but Disney Sea was fucking great. I would say going back to Animal Kingdom, very underrated park. Like
Yeah.
it is fantastic. Like whenever you get to go, the Finding Nemo musical. Do you know about that?
No.
No.
Absolutely watch the Finding Nemo musical. It has amazing puppets, original songs. 'Cause that movie doesn't have
No,
songs.
of course
They
not.
wrote a whole musical
that
for
tells
it.
the same story of
That tells the exact same story, and it's great, legitimately great.
fantastic.
Like it's got the safari, it's got like a really impressive Lion King show. It is a great park.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah.
looks great. I never watched I never got like the shows when you're there for a little bit, like on a trip. You end up doing all the big rides, but it's the shows. I always don't go to enough of the like shows. And,
yeah.
Like
Oh, there's the other one that I absolutely love. Just made me think of it is the Tiki Room, because
Tiki Room's great.
the reason I love that so much is I took my cousin who'd never been to Disneyland before, and I was like, we gotta sit in here and watch this. And because the experience of it for me and then for him and got to watch it and the joy of it was that every time you get over it, then there's a new element introduced and you're like, wow, like, now the walls are singing. And then you get over that and it's like, and the chandeliers are moving. It's this constant reintroduction of something that gets you on board again.
it's amazing
Fuck,
how
it's
you've
good.
got like you can have rides with so much more technology and so much more stuff and like literally like storytelling or just like how something unfolds is more impressive than
Totally.
like I don't know
Then
some of
pure thrills.
pure thrill. But also we're nerds.
Yeah, we are big
Yeah.
nerds.
Broden's cool. He's a Universal boy. He likes Harry Potter.
Yeah, 'Cause I didn't mention it before, but I'm like a video game comic fucking tragic and shit. Like, big time, man.
This is great.
Yeah, and I hate that stuff. I don't know anything about video games.
Do you have a favorite video game?
My favorite video game is it changes. There are two answers. One is BioShock. If any of you have played BioShock.
It's so high on my list because it's constantly recommended to me, but it passed me by, so I haven't played that. I haven't played BioShock yet.
It's phenomenal, like incredible. Not only gameplay, acting, everything. It's
Yeah.
great. The other answer is Paper Mario. If any of you played that one.
No. That's
I played the like when it first came out on 64, right?
64.
Yeah, I
yeah.
played that when I was a kid, and it was fucking sick. But I haven't played it since.
That
I
is
haven't
still
re-gone to it.
very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Like, do you each have a favorite video game?
I only just got into video games recently. It felt like I missed that boat, and then and then I wasn't really going to play them. I thought it was too far past me. You know what I mean? Like I just would see the games, and then we got some PlayStations because we did a PlayStation promo. Oh, the life of a YouTuber, and we got some free PlayStation. Like, oh, sure, I'll play it. And it's the obvious answer, but I think Last of Us is just incredible. And Part 2, like the storytelling, and like when you hear that a game is going to be adapted into a HBO series, and you think, well, they literally need to change nothing. Like that's a real testament to writing and everything.
Yeah.
So I think Last of Us for me is and Part 2, both parts are like just so good in terms of the storytelling and everything.
Cool.
From my youth, and still a game that I go to sometimes is this weird RPG called Vampire the Masquerade Redemption.
Oh yeah. I haven't played it, but I know of it.
So few people have played that game, right? But I was just obsessed with it as a kid because it's this really cool vampire game where you play in like pagan times, and you're like this knight and this warrior, and then halfway through the game you get trapped in this cave, and then you wake up and it's modern day London. It's like the year 2000, and now you're using guns and like grenades and stuff.
What
right?
type of is it 3D? Is it like
It's what's old, but it's like third person point and click.
Right?
Right?
Oh, okay, cool. I love a bit of a click and solve.
Incredible.
Love a LucasArts click and solve.
So
Oh, like adventure games, yeah.
yeah. So that, and
Nice.
but then more recently, a game that I just put like so many hours into when it first, because I got a Switch on launch day, and then the only game was Breath of the Wild, and I just played the fuck out of that and searched every corner of the map. I'd never experienced. I thought I didn't like open world games, and then I was like, no, they just hadn't made them good yet. It was my experience.
You're
of it.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Because most open world games are just you got 3 things you can do, but you're gonna do them over and over.
Shitload
You got-
of times, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of times. The Breath of the Wild has that genuine sense of exploration.
Yeah, and
of-
it's just
of awe and
the
wonder.
climbing
Yeah,
mechanic, man. As soon as they were like, you can climb anything, you can climb
Yeah.
everywhere, it just opened. And then I was like, oh, I like open world games. And then I went back and tried to play some of the big ones, and I
Sure.
just didn't like any of them. Like, none of them hit for me. As I've been spoiled,
Yeah.
I came into them too late, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about you, Broden? What about you?
I play. I'm not a big video game guy, but I play video games every day. In that, but I only play one game. I play NBA 2K, and I'm like online on that. But yeah, I'm not a video game guy, but I've started to play this every day. Particularly COVID made me a video game guy. And
So what about it brings it? What it brings you back to it every day?
I like basketball. And but yeah, it's also the online component of it. I never thought I'd be able to play online because I
Sure.
just don't know that world. And so
Yeah.
going, like stepping into it through this has been pretty eye-opening for me. Like, if you don't play video games and then you step into a world, like I don't think any other community in the world rivals just the most horrific language used, like by like 10-year-olds, and it actually
Sure.
like, and it boggles my mind that it's not talked about more. How like the words that I'm called every day by 10-year-old boys is actually horrible, and the idea that like 2K or PlayStation, I have an Xbox, I play it on Xbox Next Gen and I play it on PlayStation 4, that it's not reprimanded or any. It actually is. I'm an old man now. I'm 32. I feel like a very old man. But just the shit that is said to me by little children every day is ridiculous. Why isn't something done about it?
Well, it's hard. I think it's just hard to police.
But like, surely there's a way, like, you know, in like a dash cam kind of way that like everything that people say audio wise is recorded for an hour and then deleted or something, so that like when someone says something that I'm not going to repeat, that like they're just, or like it should just be, if you have a microphone and you can talk to people online, then the only way that you can use that is if your mum gets to hear what you say.
Yes, exactly.
I find
It's like
myself,
sent straight to the mum.
yeah, because I so much of my time like, what is your parents doing right now? Like, how are you? This is not okay. And anyone, you're only doing it because you know you can't get caught, little boy.
You should tell that next time. You're only doing this because you know you won't get caught.
I know Mark's Twitch account is called The Very Polite Gamer, and it initially started with him just being polite to people as they said horrific things to him.
Yeah, that was the initial pitch. Because I was playing a lot of Overwatch and people were so mean, and I'd always just get on and be like, "Remember, guys, it's not about winning or losing; it's about having fun." We're always a bit like, "Shut the fuck up, fucking piece of shit! You can't fucking play Mercy. You don't know how to fucking heal me. You fucking."
And but like when people start yelling at me now, I go like, "Hey, now boys, you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar," and they actually, because if someone's being aggressive to you, they're doing it out of fear and out of not being able to deal with their own stuff that's going on. So if you hit them with love, there's nothing. There's nothing they could do but say the same stuff at you again, and it's very enjoyable. Particularly, and also saying to someone, this is not real. This is all fake. None of this is real. There's nothing they could. If you hit someone with a macro existential response, it's very enjoyable.
Do you know this is a little off topic, but have you heard of the podcast Sadir Breaks the Internet? Has anyone here heard of that? It's a bit of a it's from the people that made Freakonomics Radio, but it's really interesting for exactly that topic because he worked in both Facebook and Twitter in their like regulation. He was like one of the top people in there like trying to stop the terrorism and the awful words and the hate speech and he was in those like departments at very pivotal times, and it's just a really interesting perspective of like, so it's very interesting. I remember when me and my team of 20 people tried to get the 2 billion people to calm down. It's just like, that's challenging. I imagine that's a challenging job.
It's a bit of a hurdle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There was something I was gonna say. Because it wouldn't be my podcast if I don't talk about Disneyland for too long, and then I'm going to talk about board games for a bit. So, what is your favorite board game? As the board game rules explainer.
I really love Seven Wonders. It's a game I don't get to play a lot, but I fucking love it so
great game.
much. It's so interesting. It's almost like, because getting a group of people together, my experience with Seven Wonders is that you have to do a practice round with people so that they learn how to play it. And
Yes.
then that takes so long that then no one wants to play it again. And so then you never actually get to play it with people who know how to play it. I don't have a
Sure.
good community of board game people around me.
Oh, man.
So that, and then I really love party games. Like, I know it's not really a board game, but like Mario Party is essentially a board game. And I
fantastic.
fucking adore playing that. Recently I've gotten really big into Secret Hitler. And then I love things
It's
like,
great.
Articulate and shit.
Yeah.
Those are really like those just ones that are really simple. People who've never played board games before can like get involved with and have a
Yeah.
good time. Those ones are really, really great
I
as
thought
well.
when I played Secret Hitler, I thought that was really super transcendent because it like I thought that was such a fun and inventive and clever and witty game. I thought that was a really good game.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
play that much, but I thought that was really, really cool.
I forgot the name of it, so I was just googling it. I'm not
yeah.
much of a board game player, but Codenames.
Codenames, great game.
It's going around
Sick.
our family. It's this amazing thing where like, it's one of those ones where like, it goes around the family where I think it was first my sister-in-law and brother, they had it, and then my parents got it, and we're just like buying it for each other all Christmas. Like every Christmas, a new 4 people get it. It's an incredible game.
Yeah, it's
Codenames.
fucking
It's like
amazing.
one of those ones where you sit down and you're like, it's so simple, but my God, the mechanics of this game is incredible. Like the thinking
Yeah.
that must have gone into this.
It's so
is-
fucking hard. And then when someone like is on your on your wavelength and just gets
Oh,
what
man.
you're saying, it's an incredible moment to share with somebody.
It's a beautiful game to play like with someone that's good at it.
Yeah.
But my dad has this thing where he's very like singular. He's very like a man of his age, or he's very singular in his like worldview.
There's
and-
always like one.
So like there was one where it was like a car part or something, like it was like you could say that both were related to cars. So he was just like, but not really, and he was just like a Datsun or a Datsun, or like he was just saying like one car brand, and everyone was like, you need to just let go of this because we're not picking up on it. We're not getting what you're saying. Just try a different thing. Like.
It's funny. My dad, I was playing because I've been introducing my folks to board games, and I brought Codenames. And my dad is the type, he'll look at the board and he'll go 10 concept, and we're like, what do you mean 10? What do you mean? And he's like, think, just use your mind. I'm like, no, like try 2 or 3. He's like, no, this is a concept. This is a concept. I'm like, that does not work that way.
That's exactly my dad. Or it's just like, just because you're making the links does not mean someone else will
Yeah.
make the same links. That's not how people work.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I thought I'd show you a game.
Yeah.
Because you love sketch comedy. You said you love long form sketch comedy and you love board games. Well, for people you may be a screenshot, or if people watch the video version of this, I'll introduce you to your next favorite board game. This is a game called Comedy Company,
Okay.
the board game. Now, you obviously know that the Comedy Company was an Australian sketch show in the late 80s in Australia.
Obviously knew that.
You
yeah.
obviously knew that, and then it was so successful in Australia that they made a board game for it.
Okay.
just literally
absolutely have to
think
play this
Saturday
game.
Night Live, recurring characters, no other link. Like, just it's a live, recurring characters kind of situation. But they made a
Sure.
board game where you could
For
play the funny schoolgirl or the cranky uncle and have them move around the board.
Or the Greek
Yeah.
fruit shop owner.
Yeah, the Greek fruit shop owner played by a non-Greek man.
So is this your copy of the game?
We won this in a competition once, and it's we have it up with all of our awards. Yeah, so like Webfest awards and stuff. It's
Yeah.
the Comedy Company. So next time you're in Melbourne, we're gonna play this together.
I 100% am down.
The Comedy
be
Company.
sick.
It would be an honor. Is that you put it up there because you like that's what we aspire
No one wants to take it
for
home.
that?
An
We
auntie on a board game.
It's like that's
would
the
be
gold
so
standard. It's
funny.
like
That'd be a
we,
lot of fun.
one day we will be as good as the board game version of
Oh,
the comedy.
Another really great game to play as well, talking about sketch, is Tom Scar's one.
Oh yeah, that's a really fun one.
He's got a card game called... what's it called? We did a whole
shit.
video about it.
We
Can
did.
someone Google it? While I read you the comedy company on
Fuck, what
the
was it
description.
called? It's so much fun.
yeah.
The comedy company is just about to go to air, but the characters are scattered all over Pittswood Shopping Centre.
Oh.
As trainee TV producer, your job is to track down 3 of them and then catch the bus back to the studio. Sounds easy enough, but things keep changing along the way. You need luck and strategy. Win the comedy company. You can count on it. So you're the producer of a sketch television show in the 80s, wrangling
So
the talent.
in this world,
The characters are real. They're
Yeah.
real. Then they're
So,
not characters.
Yeah, this is sort of
Yeah.
the proto-reality show where they would get real heightened characters that would go to the shops, they'd wrangle them, and then they'd just put them in front of the camera. That's what the world building of this game. And I hope it's canon, because what that does to the 1980s Australian sketch show, The Comedy Company, is it opens it right up.
Muffin Time is Tom Scar's game.
Muffin time.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's a real fun one.
Can I ask, in America, was that a thing like before VHS or when TV was the king? Was that a thing? Like that was a big thing in Australia. If a television show was popular, particularly game shows, but just generally, they would make like a flimsy plastic board game version of
Yes.
it for Christmas time.
Oh yeah.
'Cause that's
do you guys
real-
know Wheel of Fortune?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Wheel of Fortune. I had the board game of that.
Yeah,
Family Feud. I had the board
Yes.
game of that. Yeah,
Amazing.
no. Yeah, oh yeah. They made board games of every kids show, everything. It was very it was
Do you
a big
remember
thing
Boulder
here.
Dash? I reckon Boulder
I've
Dash is
got
my
Boulder
favorite board
Dash.
game.
Yeah,
I
Boulder
was
Dash is
thinking
Boulder
like
Dash
the-
I haven't played, but it's still respected. It's still people like that.
It's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
ones. I think it taps into the same thing I was saying with Codenames, where it's like it's a fun game if you're taking it seriously, but it's even more fun if there's a few people that are really bad at it in
Yeah.
the mix. Like
Sure.
I love a game where people not being good at it creates comedy. There's nothing funnier than that.
I think we
don't
stopped
think.
playing it with my partner's family because my partner is so fucking good at it, and she would just like clean house every fucking
Sure.
time.
Again,
every fucking time.
I'll come back to my dad. Every time he plays Boulder Dash, it's always a type of, like the definition, because it's about you make a fake definition and you've got to kind of make, and he would always go, a type of car, a type of fruit. Just every time.
Even for the movie descriptions?
Yeah, even if it's a movie, it'd just be like, a type of movie. Like, it just every time you knew there was going to be a type of and then a thing, and that was always his definition. Man's working hard at a job. He comes home. He doesn't have time to think of fake definitions.
Yeah, another category of game that fits, like, it's fun when people are bad is drawing games. Like, have you ever played like Telestrations? Do you know that game?
No.
no.
It's a game where basically it's like telephone, where each of you will have a word, and then you all draw the picture, but then you pass it to the next person, and they look at the picture and try to think, okay, what is this, and write the word.
Yeah.
And then the next person, and so on and so forth.
Well, I've been
so
playing-
it becomes a thing where you see what it becomes by the end.
I've been playing the online version of that. There's like a web browser version of that that's going crazy at the moment called what's it called? Something phone. Starts with G. I thought it was called Garlic Phone, but I just misread it. So
Yeah.
it looks like Garlic Phone, but it's so funny. It's so much fun. A lot of people playing it on stream at the moment. It's really cool.
So I'm gonna show you a picture over Zoom chat of what my dad thought a rhinoceros looked like.
Oh my god.
I just want to share this with you.
Oh, this is
'cause
so
it's-
exciting.
Here you go.
This
go ahead
we
and-
should do a sketch of just dads playing board games.
It looks like a fucked up chicken. That looks.
It is terrifying. Like, when I saw this, I was like, "What? Have you ever seen a rhinoceros before in your life?" It's like an like a weird piranha or
that's
something.
That's really
amazing.
funny.
That's so good.
God damn. Now, I like to give the guests opportunities, and we can kind of go for each one of you. Is there a question for me you'd like to ask, or a topic you would like to bring up? Any one of you can, and if not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I have
Just
one.
Talk about other shit. Yeah, what's up?
what lists of foods have you got in your arsenal? Because this is going to come out a while later, you said. So I'd love to know what you have ready to go.
Yeah.
So I don't have one. I just at the time of this video, I just put one out for Ruffles. Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
I
with
love Ruffles. Big Ruffles fan over here.
Yeah. So I just put that out today.
How many were there?
17 different
Yeah.
Ruffles.
Wow.
A couple Canadian varieties I got too.
Yeah, nice.
So here's usually how it works with those is I buy them, right? And then they're sitting on my counter for like weeks, and I'll invite friends over and they'll help eat them, and then I don't plan the next one until the
They're
shit
all
is
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in this circumstance, the Ruffles one, it just for some reason or another, we didn't put it out until all the Ruffles are gone. So I'm about to actually decide what my next thing is.
Yeah.
Do you have any requests?
Oh, I mean, there's Australian. Maybe we should recommend something Australian.
I did do a Tim Tams one. I don't know if you saw that one.
yeah.
You'd
That's
have
what
to.
I was thinking of.
There's such a range of Tim Tams, but how do they get to you? It's the.
Oh no, I already did the
already
Tim
done
Tams.
You already did
one.
the Tim Tam
Yeah.
one.
You did a Tim Tam. one?
I did. Oh yeah, check it out. It's I think I did like 10 or it's like 11 Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What
I
did you
didn't-
land on?
I thought they were great. I think I tried the Tim Tam Slam.
Yeah,
as,
with a cup of tea
no.
or a coffee, or what did you?
Oh, I did it wrong. I did it with like milk or something.
No, it has to
That's
be
okay,
warm. It's
but-
the melt.
It's okay. It's acceptable.
The
Okay.
key is
mean-
the
Gotcha.
melt.
Yeah, yeah,
What
the-
about
the-
like
the-
a mite? Well, I think like that's a funny concept.
Oh, there's
the
a lot of mites.
So,
I don't know how many there'd be, but that would be interesting
So,
to
well,
see.
Vegemite.
Mite, like you're talking like Vegemite.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Yeast extract.
Yeah, that's one of many. There's Marmite. There's many mites.
Bromite.
Promite.
What
You could do all the mites, but
I've
make
had
sure-
Marmite and I've had Vegemite, but I don't know the other
Yeah,
ones.
that you've
Pretty much
seen the
covered it.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I will say though, sorry.
Oh no, I just had one very quick question: is do you
Yeah, what's up?
do you do them all in one sitting, or does it usually take you a longer period of time to get through them all? Because like I watched the Oreos one and which I love because I love Oreos, and I
Yeah.
was just like, it's a lot in one sitting, and I was like, I wonder if he does it in one sitting, which is very impressive, or if he breaks it up, which is a little smarter.
If it's something like that, I do it in one sitting because for me, the experience part of it for me is like I want this tortured performance art out of it.
It's 'cause
right?
that's how it
I want you to feel my suffering, right? And it's so funny because it's like if I did it like spaced out, I'd probably be kinder to the later Oreos. But by the end of it, I'm like, tastes like an Oreo. Fuck you. Like, I'm sick of fucking Oreos. I hate Oreos. Like, so I am doing one. I'll let you guys in on a teaser because this won't be out for a while.
Yeah.
There's one I'm doing that is spaced out. Are you familiar with Subway?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
If you go to
yeah.
our YouTube channel, we have a video where we're sketch, where it's us being the marketing department or the head office of Subway, and essentially the
Gotcha.
premise of it is what kind of new sandwich can we make that will
Yeah.
make people forget that our spokesperson is a pedophile. And then we're like, oh, chicken teriyaki.
I'm still making me think of that stuff that Jared
Yeah.
did.
Anyway, go watch that.
It's that's probably my favorite Auntie Donna sketch. It's in the top 5.
It's one
of
of-
our
'cause
personal.
That was
sketches.
one that we had the idea as soon as the scandal happened, and we went, can't do this for a couple of years. Too soon. And then the timing felt right.
Nice.
But what are you gonna eat a bunch of sandwiches? What are you doing?
Oh, it's in progress, my friend. I don't know how you guys feel about Subway. What are your feelings on Subway?
I did it-
feelings on
So
Subway.
Tom, the guy who does all of our music, is like I would say mixed on this front, and we'll answer that. But Tom loves Subway with a fervor that I've never
Wow.
encountered anyone have since like Subway was introduced to regional towns. I loved Subway when it was introduced to my regional town as a teenager. I was like, oh my God, it's a sandwich, but fast food.
Sure.
But Tom loves it still with that fervor.
Wow.
I did a
okay,
tweet the
okay.
other day where I was like, for someone who made a video about how bad Subway is, and for someone who talks so much shit about Subway, I sure do eat a lot of Subway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so on Subway. I was very confused because when it came to my regional town, everyone, like all the kids in my year level were obsessed with it. And I was like, you've been eating sandwiches for lunch every day of
but
your
not
fucking
subs.
school life. And now you're going to go and pay more for another sandwich. It just didn't resonate with me. But in my later years, in my twilight years, I've come to appreciate it as a nice snack. I never go there for lunch, but if I'm just feeling a little peckish, I don't mind getting a little 6-incher.
Can I tell you the sweet onion chicken teriyaki? It was for me, for my little 16-year-old mind living in a country town. We didn't have subs in Australia before this, and then someone was like, "Hey, we're gonna give you a sandwich, but it's not just gonna be like a deli meat. It's gonna be we're gonna take you around the world in a in a sub." And I just when they introduced the sweet onion chicken teriyaki, a lot of young people will think, well, there's chicken teriyaki, there's the sweet onion sauce, but they were introduced at the same time, and they were introduced as a combo, and I can't get past that.
I do think
it's got a special place in my heart.
I think potentially Australia has the worst Subway though, like because I had chicken teriyaki in Japan.
Oh, I imagine they would have to step it up.
It was like, oh fuck, this is on another level.
That's great.
Like, and that was really good Subway. So I've had better Subway in other parts of the world. I don't think the Australian Subway is particularly.
America is bad as well.
America is bad as well. But then America,
America is bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you have other sub options. This is the thing. I don't know if you know this about us, but Subway is the only one.
We don't have Jersey Mike. Well, we do now.
Do we have Jersey Mike's?
There's
a Jersey
Jersey
Mike's.
Mike's.
They closed.
They closed. They tried, but they failed.
They're
Subway
like, no,
had already
Subway's the
achieved
king.
market dominance.
Yeah, it's
you
the
know?
only one that's made it overseas. So it's the only option. And you go to America and you don't even have to worry about Subway because, I mean, if you're in New York, you just go to a deli and you'll have a better sandwich, or a better sub.
Right.
And then there are just better franchises, but we don't have that in Australia. So it's I think that's why I'm a little shitty at it because I know how much better this can be.
Do you know my favorite thing about Subway is that it's that the parent company is the Doctors Association. Do you know the parent company of Subway is the Doctors Association. And they started out, like, I remember when they came, they're like, this is the healthy alternative. Don't have a Big Mac. Come along, have a meatball sub because it's a healthy sandwich.
But I want to hear.
And then you see on the napkin it says like copyright the Doctors Association. You're like, well, it must be healthy. And then I read like years later, they're like, it's literally called the Doctors Association because the guy who started it was like, oh, I wish I was a doctor.
Aspiring Doctors Association.
I wish I was a doctor.
But what is your list? What are you eating?
Okay, so let me talk about my stance on Subway. I fucking hate Subway.
Yeah, fantastic.
For me, not all the sandwiches are bad. I'm not going to spoil the video for you, but I will say so far I've had about 13 sandwiches of 18. Over obviously spans of a couple of weeks, and there have been 3 that have been like, okay, these are pretty good. Yeah. Everything else is just mediocrity.
But that's about where it gets to. It gets to this is pretty good. It doesn't go beyond that.
It never gets to like,
it's just not. That's what I mean.
I'm the same as you. It's like, I will never go eat like Subway. If I had to choose between that and like starving for a bit, I would probably just starve for a bit, right? I can just starve for today. And, but the funny thing is, if Subway is given to me for free,
nothing like a platter of Subway.
Now I'm like, ooh, free Subway. That's a different story.
I think it's a real worry. Like sandwiches should be a lot of things, and they should have a lot of descriptive words. But I think when soft and sweet is the predominant description, it's not a great thing for a sandwich.
Yeah.
Not great.
And I don't think I even started fucking with Subway until they started toasting their subs. When they started toasting them,
helps.
A little bit of the crunch, a little bit of texture, mixing it up with the texture. I could get behind the meatball. I'm Italian, so you throw in a meatball. I'm going to be interested. But I think that for me, that is the only acceptable sandwich from Subway is a toasted meatball sub with cheese. Like that.
I will say the meatball sub is probably the best one I've had.
That's and I don't.
And it
I
tastes
don't
how I
touch
remember.
anything
It's
else.
literally just fucking meatballs and marinara sauce. Like
That's
you
it.
cannot fuck that up.
No.
So yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not that good.
Even then, it's like literally any other Italian place is
Yeah, we'll do it
1,000 times
better.
than this. Yeah. You speaking of so I consider it a huge honor if something infiltrates me and my friends' vocabulary, and I will say the sketch in the show with the Italian delivery man in Auntie Donna, we fucking loved that sketch, and so the phrase "oh no, I pooped in my pants" is something we keep saying. We just keep saying it to each other.
You do that voice really well.
Oh no!
He's a voice artist.
I know.
He could do the animated series on Italian Man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love that idea. Like when you move
I just
on.
wanted to tell you that, I mean, the whole show is phenomenal, and I had a question about it, like, what is each of your favorite sketch from it personally, from the show? But I just wanted you to know that. Is
Oh, thanks,
a very
man.
deep place in my heart. Yeah.
Sketch.
My favorite sketch in the show.
Or it could be a moment, or it doesn't have to necessarily be.
I like how much people liked Ellen. We've been doing Ellen for a really long time, and and we were desperate to put it into something, but we never had like a platform where the budget would suit it.
Allow for it, yeah.
Yeah.
And we got to do it, and I was just rapt that people enjoyed it.
Oh, the first time I saw the first like put together edit of that, I was like, this is one of the best things we've ever fucking done. Like it just because that's been around for so long, that sketch, and to execute it in a way that was without compromise, which very rarely we get to do, was fucking really cool. I'm very proud of the Italian sketch because when we were coming up with that character's been around since the very, very start because it is the only character that I really do. And Zach was very pushed for doing a sketch with Italian Man that went back to the roots of it. In the very first live show we ever did, the idea where that character came from was I did a Nonna character in pantomimes. I used to work at this place called Sovereign Hill, which is like a recreation of what a gold rush, a gold town was like in the 1860s. And we used to put on pantomimes. I did a Nonna character, and that sort of transformed into this old Italian man because the idea was let's do the worst sketch possible, right? It was just about doing a really, really bad sketch. And then the character tripped over a chair, and then we broke character, and then Mark, the actor, like freaked out and got really upset. So it was kind of like this form-breaking thing. And Zach was like, we should do it. If we do Italian Man, we should go back to that. And once he said that, it then gave us a reason to do that character in this show because we wanted to, but we weren't sure how.
It's one of those things that for me, the funniest thing about that character is that he's a gross racial stereotype, but we know that Mark has a tension with playing him. It's that tension inside that character. It's the fact that Mark is playing him, and we're like, because there are people that are going to see this character for the very first time, we have to introduce that tension again. And it's like, I think that tension makes the character so much more
it's the best part. It's, when you go and you like throw, I think you like throw your hat or whatever. I fucking died. Like I was like, this is so good.
It was also a really great moment in the writer's room because we went there, we're like, so this happens, it breaks down, Mark gets upset, and then it just didn't have that, we didn't know where it went from there, and then when we came up with that in the writing room, it was really cool. And then I remember when we did a reading of it, a few people came up to me and were like, as we were reading it and it got into that moment where he's sad and he's talking to his mum, they were like, where could this possibly go? But like someone came up and was like, I had no idea where this was going to go, and I didn't know how you were going to pull it off. And then you do the poo my pants again, and I was like, oh my God, of course. And it ties it up beautifully.
I will say the reason that
good.
Poo My Pants is in it at all is we were in the room that we're podcasting now, and we're just doing our first initial improv for the idea, and Mark just farted halfway through it. That's the reason that it's in it.
Mark had crook
Like
guts
as I respond in that scene is pretty much word for word how it went.
What happened?
Yeah.
He's like, did you poo your pants? And then we just rolled with that.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's a very real. It's just a flow of that. That's got nothing to do with the character and everything to do with Mark's dietary issues.
Oh shit.
Zach?
That's so good. Yeah, Zach, you have a favorite?
My favorite. Fuck hell. I would say like it's so hard. I love both of the ones listed, particularly because they were ones that needed to be cracked. You know, like that was my my whole thing is I love ones where you don't know if it's quite going to work. I also love. I love Everything's a Drum. I know it's the opening, it's the obvious one.
So good.
But that was a really great one of like, we were just riffing. It was just this idea of everything's a drum. And then I remember, because we riff in real time with Tom, our musician, and I remember just going up and whispering and being like, when I hit a drum, stop the music. And then like, I did that, and that was literally just the joke of, oh, it doesn't work. And then I think it came out fully formed where as soon as it didn't work, there was tension in the improv, and it just was this full, and that cult thing kind of happened. And it's just a really fun example, I think, of a sketch where you think the core and you think where it all started from was actually like one of the last things we added, because like it literally was just a sketch about everything being a drum for a lot of its life.
I was gonna say, from that same sketch, again, something that's entered our vocabulary, just Brother Mark, just just the delivery on that is so good.
I'm such a big fan of like a little like the implication of a bigger world. I think in sketch when there's this implication of more and you don't say much. I love that. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Mark? Do you have any topic or question that you would like to bring up?
My question was, do you do those things in one sitting? That is what I really genuinely wanted to know.
Gotcha.
So
not the Subway one, because that would have been terrible.
I'm so excited for that video. I'm really excited to see one done in that way, because that brings a whole, like you said, the other ones are like almost torture porn, right? But I love the Cheeto ones because we don't get a lot of Cheetos in Australia. We only just got Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Like they just came, right? Like this year, a couple of months ago. They fuck my guts up so much, but I love them. I love them to death. And so I really appreciated that one, because I felt like it felt like a fantasy world, like another planet.
You're watching like them eat like like star cubes. Like, I wonder what that tastes like.
Because we've got these things called Twisties, right? Which are like, it's like the shit Australian version of Cheetos, and they only come in cheese or chicken. And they're just both are bizarre. So I really appreciate, but this one, I'm so excited for the Subway one, because to see you do that with time between each sandwich is going to be fascinating. It's fascinating.
There's a similar one. I did a Hot Pockets one. I don't know.
I did watch the Hot Pockets one. I have watched the Hot. You did that.
That
over
one's similar.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's this very similar feeling, because it becomes almost like you're watching me, and it's like just me going. It's like playing a video game. You uncover like an audio diary of like someone like day 12, Subway again.
I think that was the first video of yours that I actually sat down and watched start to finish.
Was the
really? Okay,
the long form
cool.
ones. Yeah.
I have to say very quickly, there's nothing better than those like. Remember in primary school where you'd write first person, or like elementary school where you'd write first person stories, and you'd always be like, and the character dies at the end, but how can you keep them writing until the last moment? And there's always that bit at the end where you're like, it looks like the monster's at the door. And I love that when you're writing that, there's this sense of like, well, that's never going to be a useful skill. Unless, of course, you're writing the found diaries in video games. Like, it seems like everyone that's dying makes sure they write this last thing where they're like, oh no, the zombies are at the door.
There's a great bit in The Last of Us 2. There's one of them where they turn into the zombie and continue to write. And they're, hungry for food.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's real weird. It's real
I haven't played
weird.
part 2 yet.
Oh my goodness, it's one of the best video game experiences. I've finished it 3 times now, and I'm about to do a permadeath run. I'm very excited.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man, it's
Cool.
fucking sick.
How about you, Zach?
Look, honestly, if we're talking about topics I want to talk about, I'm such a fucking weirdo when it comes to theme parks. So what an absolute thrill and a treat that about 30 minutes of this podcast, anything where I get to talk about the Abraham Lincoln attraction at Disneyland is a real win for me. So I couldn't ask for anything more.
Great.
We have to, very shortly, we're very lucky, we have to do an interview with Blunt Magazine. Which is, so we have to hop off shortly, but
Gotcha.
I just wanted to earmark that because look for us in the most recent edition of Blunt magazine.
Blunt magazine. if
Yeah,
you're
Blunt
familiar with
magazine.
it.
It's
I
a
don't-
surfy,
I don't know what it is.
surfy magazine.
I don't know what that is, but I'm looking forward to it now. And anyone out there listening to this, go check out
You get that?
whenever that happens. Well, do you know what month's issue?
No, no idea.
no.
I love nothing more than on a podcast talking about a short form promotional interview. We're not going to promote our tour on this podcast. We're going to talk about the Blunt interview where we promote our tour. This is the journey you have to go on if you want any kind
And we're not going to tell you the month. You have to do the work. You have to
Go find the Blunt interview if you want to find out.
But
Exactly.
it's about our new. Depending on when this comes out, if this is before October, November, we're doing a national tour of Australia with our new show, Auntie Donna and the Magical Dead Cat. And that's what we're doing the interview about. So if you're listening and this is before November, October,
And you're
come
in
along.
Australia.
And you're in Australia, come
Yeah.
along.
So
If it's
many
after
caveats
that,
there.
it went so well. Didn't it just go so well?
Oh, it was such a good
It was
tour.
incredible.
was
And
Yeah.
we'll
just
come to
the
America
best.
soon as well.
Yes, we're very much hoping to and planning to.
Oh,
And we'll play. We'll eat some Subway together and go to Mario World.
We'll play, and we'll play
at Mario World. Yeah,
At
meatball
Mario World.
subs at Mario World. I mean,
Fuck.
the
Oh,
most
that's
fitting thing.
culturally so appropriate. He's
Absolutely,
Italian.
yes.
He's still Italian, isn't he? But he's no longer a plumber, Mario. I think that's the
He
thing.
might be still. He might still be a plumber.
I thought they took that out of the law or something. I don't know.
There's so many pipes. He has
Don't
to
get
be
me
a
started
plumber.
on Mario lore. I could talk. I'm not joking. I could talk hours about it. But
I do want to know who Rosalina is. I don't know who the fuck that is.
oh, Rosalina, that's a whole nother story. We'll just have to do another one. That's
was
all.
last
You know,
another
or
one,
just
mate.
talk about Rosalina for like an hour.
I would love that.
But yeah, no, thank you guys. This was fucking great. Is there anything else you want to like plug? Like, where can people find you?
Just watch our
on-
Netflix show.
Watch our
Sure.
Netflix show, Auntie Donna's
Check
Big
out-
Old House of Fun.
Check out our YouTube. There's a YouTube. We're like Smosh but weirder.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I'm not, yeah. So that's the best way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. Smosh, but weirder. Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, no, check out our YouTube, all of that. But yeah, just Auntie Donna. Google Auntie Donna, see what comes up.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys. This has been great.
Thanks for
Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.